All right, so I hope you guys got your coffees or your teas in front of you because we're just about to start. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. My name is Franklin, and I'm the Product App Specialist for Kits and your webinar host. Now, this is where you need to be every Wednesday to learn those tips and tricks you need to know to becoming that supercharged power user. That's right. We're here to teach you everything you need to know to continue on with using Kits. Now, if you have any questions, what you can do is you can actually type them in the chat box located on the GoToWebinar control panel on the right side of your screen. And then what I'll be doing is I'll be taking a few minutes at the end of the webinar to answer them. Now, also, we have some great news. Due to the overwhelming feedback for our free training sessions that we're running currently, we're bringing it back starting in December 14th. So be sure to attend if you're new to Kits or just need a refresher. Feel free to let your colleagues know as well and sign up by going to our Kits Knowledge Center to register. We'll also post a schedule for these sessions that are going to continue in the new year in our KC, so check back to have the chance to register. All right, so with that being said, let's get on with the webinar. So today what we're going to be, or what I'm going to be showing you is basically how to customize your project using the Freeform item feature found in the Add Item menu. All right, if you haven't used this before, this is a great session to learn how you can actually utilize this for the projects that you're working on. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at various ways of using Freeform, like creating an item. This is an ad hoc item that may not belong in a manufacturer's catalog. Also creating a special, how you can add a tag to a particular furniture item that's already in your scene. And then also adding additional line charges like, for instance, installation charges or payment term line charges. These are all neat things that we can add to making the document that we're creating, the quick sheet here in Kits, more accessible for the client to learning what you're going to provide them, okay? So with that being said, let's open up Kits. And then I'm going to be continuing with using the last project that we created. And it's this nice private office with a small meeting area, all right? So what we want to do here is we want to create an ad hoc item. Now, this is an item that most likely does not belong in a manufacturer's catalog set. Now, because we use the most current set or most current catalogs available, what we do is, for instance, if there's an item that is still available that's provided by the manufacturer, however, because we have the newly updated catalogs, you can't find that particular item, we give you the ability to creating an ad hoc item. Or, you know, we all know that with a given sale, it may not be just the you know, your particular service for the contract furniture. You may also be providing additional services like, let's say, procuring some equipment, an LED screen, or you know, some office equipment, you know, things like that. So what we're doing here today is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an LED screen here that we're going to provide the client, okay? And because we don't have a catalog that actually sets particular TV screens or monitors, what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the c.o.m catalog. I'm going to go into the Kits Office Environment c.o.m catalog here. I'm going to go into Office Elements. Then I'm going to go into Equipment. And what I'm looking for is this LED 32 TV here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and double tap on that. And now I'm going to drag it into my scene. Okay, now that we have this, I'm going to go into Plan View. And let's do a quick adjustment to get it up. Okay, might have to turn on my Snap to so that I can make sure it attaches to the wall. All right, and there we go. Once I'm satisfied with that, let's go ahead and take a look. That looks pretty cool to me. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my three-finger vertical raise gesture. That is this particular one right here. Let's just go to it. And I'm going to adjust the TV by performing this gesture. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and turn off the movie gesture ribbon there. And now that we have our TV set, I'm pretty happy with this. However, what we need to do is we also need to include an actual item for it. So we have to create an item so that it appears in our configured price list here, or configured parts list here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Add Item. And this time at the very top left corner, I have the option of creating or adding a freeform. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And here what you get is the Add Item menu, submenu. Normally you'll have a graphic here, but because we're creating a freeform item, there's no graphic associated. However, you have the ability here to creating a model number, as well as a description of what that particular item is. And then lastly, we're going to add a price to it. So here what I'm going to put is, I'm going to include an LED 32 TV. That's going to be my model number. And then in the description, I'm just going to use any particular company here. Okay. So that's the description. Lastly, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and add a price. I'm going to say this is $350. And there we go. So what you can see here is I now have an item number, a description of what that item is, and the cost of that item. So this is the ad hoc freeform item that we've created. I want to add this to the project. So I'm going to place my finger on the camera graphic. I'm going to drag and release. And you can see here that the item was added. See the list view. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on my list view. And just in case you have too many items to go through, I'm going to quickly tap on all catalogs. And here what I can do is I can find all the different items that are in here. If I go to c.o.m catalog, I can see that the TV was added. However, obviously there's no price here. And what we want to do is we want to include a price. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to all catalogs so that you can see here that the tag has been created. So I now have reference to the actual TV. We're using a quantity of 1, and the cost is $350. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with that. So let's continue on with the next freeform feature, right? So as it goes, this particular private office has also a small meeting area. But if I go to plan view, and even though we don't have the walls, we may have the proper space requirements, which we can actually use the floor grid that you see here as a waypoint to creating the space plan. And basically because every square here that you see equals 1 full square foot, all right? So we know that every office has the same condition that's going to receive the layout here. However, I can see an issue with circulation points for somebody walking to and from if there was a meeting here. I mean, this is quite tight. So what the client has required us to do is to creating a custom tabletop or work surface that's going to be supported that is going to be 12 inches less than what is provided. So how do I create that in terms of creating a special in kits? We already know that we can't make changes to the manufacturer's particular item. So what I want to do is I want to be able to take this particular model number, and again, just as we did with the TV, I'm going to create a freeform tag that's going to associate itself with this. I'm going to also use the behavior and project to remove pricing. And you know, if you had a chance to visit last week's or to join last week's webinar, we talked about behavior and project. In case you need to learn more about it, you can visit our Knowledge Center to watch the video for that, or you can go to our YouTube page. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to recreate this model number by using the freeform feature. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to eliminate the pricing on this item so that we can take the new pricing on the special that we're creating in terms of a tag. Okay, so here what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to add item. Again, at the very top left corner, add freeform. this time in the model number area, what I'm going to place is the model number of the item that we're going to affect. All right, perfect. At the end, what I'm going to add is SPC. So this way I know that this is a special that we're actually doing, okay? This model number may not really, in terms of the actual name, may not affect the parts list that you're going to submit to the manufacturer. This is something that you may want to think about how you express creating specials. Some manufacturers have a current process in terms of creating an ad hoc or special for any project that they work on. So it's best to communicate with the manufacturer how they want you to express that, or maybe talk to a customer service team that creates all your estimations for you. In this case here, I'm making sure that it's understood that this is going to be a special, okay? And now what I'm going to indicate is the change. So here, I'm just going to make sure that in the notes, they know that this is a special. Oops. And what I want to do is I want to indicate exactly what's going to happen. Here, we're going to say table or work surface, however you want to name it. Okay, so we're going to reduce the table size to being 66 inches as opposed to 78. Okay, this way they'll get enough clearance between the desk here as well as the meeting area. All right. Now we're going to add a price tag to that. List price of the particular item is $39.95, but because we have to actually make a change to the pricing, we're going to say the additional cost is going to be a total of $4,500. All right. So here's the new price. Again, just as we did with the last freeform, we're going to place our finger on this graphic, drag and release. It's going to be added to our list view. Let's go check out our list view. And what we want to do is we want to find that table. And there it is. Okay, so here we have the table. And now we have the special for that particular table. All right, it's actually telling us that the table is to be 30 by 66. Here you can see that the table item size is actually 3078. So these are the conditions of the new table. We also have to strike out this pricing. So how do we do that? I'm going to double tap anywhere in this line. That's going to open up the edit item menu. At the very bottom of the edit item menu, we have behavior and project. Let's go ahead and tap on that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the very last one, and that's do not include in project quick sheet. Once I do that, what you can actually see is the pricing has been removed. Okay, so we have the new cost of the special, and we have the note that we need to create for that special as well. Remember, you can be much more detailed than I was here, where I'm just indicating that the tabletop is to be 30 by 66. You can have full-on notes as long as it doesn't exceed the particular note section that we've created for you. All right. Once I'm satisfied with this, I can go on and continue with the next feature, freeform feature. Okay. All right. So we got all the changes made. Oh, and one last thing to add to that ad hoc change that we created in terms of the actual special. We know that there's no graphic that can indicate the special, but remember what we're dealing with here. We're creating a graphic that the client is going to understand based on the solution that you're providing them of their requirement. All right, so they don't have any measurements, they don't have any dimensions that's included in this. The floor grid does not appear when they create the actual rendering itself. So there's no way the client will know that there's a reduction of 12 inches here. However, it's understood that in the actual parts list, the condition is that this work surface or desktop is going to be reduced to 12 inches, okay, or to reduce by 12 inches, all right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to position this based on the rendering I want to create. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to continue with adding the last freeform item, and that's creating an additional line charge. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can add, let's say, an installation price, and then also payment terms. Okay. So in the model number area, I'm going to go ahead and create a new line charge, and that's going to start off as ZZ dot install. Here in the description, I'm just going to say installation cost. And then down in the pricing, I'm going to say it's going to cost $1,000 to set this up. Nope, that's $100. Let's add one more zero. There we go. Again, I'm going to place my finger on this camera graphic, drag and release. And now if I go into my parts list, if I go all the way to the bottom, because I started the note or the model number with two Zs, what it's actually doing is it's placing it alphanumerically and placing it at the very bottom of my item list. Okay, I'm satisfied with that, so I'm going to leave that there. Let's go ahead and add payment terms. So again, we want to go to add item, add freeform. Here again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to indicate also ZZ2 dot payment terms. Okay. In this case, I can say net 30 or whatever the condition is. I can put it here, or what I can also do is if this is a common, or if this is a note that you're going to consistently create and you're going to place in all your projects, what you can actually do is you can utilize your iPad notes and you can create notes, email lists, whatever it is of anything that you would normally include in your quick sheet. Here you can see I have my payment terms already pre-created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double tap in this screen here. I'm going to say select all. I'm going to now copy, and let's flip back to kits. And in the description area, I'm going to make sure I paste, okay? You can use this icon here. And there my payment terms have now been listed. All right? I don't necessarily have to put anything for the pricing. So all I'm going to do is place my finger on the camera graphic, drag and release. Let's go to list view. And you can now see that my install and my payment terms have been added. Okay. Now the reason why I added the two is because what I want to do is I wanted to make sure that this line fell after the current line. Okay, so this is the last one here. Normally I would also put ZZ1, but I had forgotten to place it on this one. So again, so don't worry about that. If you need to make any changes, again, you can double tap into the actual item itself, and then we can make that change. Okay, so I now have my two line charges. Here we can see I have my install price as well as my payment terms. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. So now what I want to do is go back to 3D view, make sure that it is positioned the way I want to present this project to my client. Here I'm choosing this angle because it's eliminating what the space is currently on this. So this way they can assume that we've made the right change. I'm pretty satisfied with that, so let's go ahead and tap on HD Render. Let's use the very first rendering option. That's going to take us anywhere between 10 to 15 seconds to generate a stunning HD image. That's going to add some light and shadows, really giving the depth to the actual project itself. Okay, there it is. I'm pretty happy with this, so let's export that to the photo library. Let's go back, and then now let's go ahead and create a quick sheet. Okay, here's my quick sheet. I'm okay with the project name, so I'm going to leave that. However, I can change the actual rendering. So let's go ahead and tap in there. Here are all the different renderings that have been created. I'm going to go ahead and select the very first one. So I now have the nice, stunning image here for my client to preview. At the very bottom, starting with the pricing here, you can see that automatically the list price is shown. I can show a discount as well as add an additional custom cell line. Okay, so let's go ahead and now, one thing that you should be aware of, if you use the discount here in the pricing, that does a general discount against the entire project itself. So if you have discounting that you've provided using the line item discounting, then you want to make sure that you don't use global discounting at the end, okay? Because you'll further reduce your furniture item or the cost of the furniture item. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with this. Here we can add a custom cell line. I'm just going to say that's shipping and handling. Unfortunately, they don't provide you enough space, and that's the reason why I like to utilize using line charges to creating my payment, to indicating certain notes that I want to communicate, as well as creating, for those items that don't belong to the manufacturer. And then it also gives me a nice little package to send to my client. Okay. So here we got shipping and handling, and now I'm going to say that's 500. There's the total cost. Here's my project list. I have everything included. Just to show you here, there's the TV that's been added, and then there's the new install price. These prices are reflected in the total cost. However, my payment terms doesn't have one, so there's no pricing that carries forward from here, other than the fact that it provides a nice little note based on what our current terms are for any project that we work on. Okay, in case you need to protect your bid, you can easily remove anything you want to remove from your actual parts list. Here I can actually just show basically about 2-3 pages of the actual project, including pricing. Okay, you can actually print that to an air printer, or you can click on send, and you can email that out using the current email that's set as default on your iPad. So that concludes our session. It was a very quick one. I know you guys are busy and you have a busy schedule to making those sales. Hey, it's also the holiday season that's coming up. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and right from there, it's going to be right into the Christmas season. So you know what? There's a lot to get prepared to. We know that everybody's busy, so it's great that we have these quick sessions. In case you have any questions that may arise during, let's say, after the session here, you could always reach out to us. Also, be sure to check out all our webinar recordings that are available. You can find them in the YouTube page. You can also find a link to that YouTube page through our Knowledge Center. So be sure to making sure that you check out all the additional resources that we make available for you to preview. Okay? So it pretty much looks like we're done. First off, thank you to the community for participating today and participating every Wednesday. Don't forget, we're also running our free training session at the beginning of December. Actually, it's the second week of December, December 14th. So be sure that you sign up for the free training session. I literally take everyone through the basics on how to start a project to how to complete a project. We only look at the basic features. We don't necessarily delve into any advanced features such as catalog searching or let's say environment photo adding or including an environment photo. These are all different sessions that we provide here for Webinar Wednesday. Okay, so be sure to check out our Knowledge Center to sign up for that or to register for our last free training session for the year, or you can also reach out to support if you need any help regarding the free training session. All right. We also want to showcase your project, so reach out to us if you want to become our next KITS collaborator. What we require you to do is to send us any kind of feedback or comment about KITS, why you love KITS, maybe why or how KITS help you close your last sale. We're hoping that you can also add a selfie and an image of KITS in that selfie. And what we're going to do is we're going to showcase your project on our website in our Knowledge Center for the community to see. It's a great way to share stories and share experiences, and you never know what you're going to learn from the next story. There's quite a few interesting ones there, so if you go to our Knowledge Center, you can actually read some of the different comments that are there and how KITS actually help those salespeople close their sales. Okay. Again, that's pretty much it. I'm glad that we had a good showing today of all our KITS users. I'm hoping that I get some feedback regarding these webinars. So if you have the time after the session when we close it, you can actually add some feedback there. It's great to know, what type of webinars people are looking for. Also, if there's something that you want us to change as well. I mean, these are all great suggestions that we take, and we, heavily rely on our field to letting us know. What we want to do is we want to stay connected with you, and we want to make sure that we present KITS the best way we can so that it makes your experience that much better. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks again for attending today's webinar. I hope to see you back right here next week for Webinar Wednesday. Bye, everyone.